On the withdrawal of the Romans, several Celtic kingdoms re-emerged in our area. Cyr Baden around Bath, Glastenning near Glastonbury, and Cornubia in modern-day Cornwall. The most powerful of these was Dumnonia. But even all these kingdoms together, even with help from the legendary King Arthur, could only hold off the advancing Anglo-Saxons for about 100 years. The Celts left many place names in the landscape, such as those with Coombe in them, related to the Welsh Cwm meaning valley. They also left many legends, including the legend of King Arthur. According to legend, King Arthur was based at Cadbury Castle in Somerset and was born at Tintagel in Cornwall, a dramatic headland whose castle required only 3 archers to defend it against a whole army. If you visit the site today, you'll understand why. The Arthurian legend of the Lady of the Lake also contains strong echoes of the Celtic worship of goddesses in the waters of our region, especially the parts where Arthur receives his magical sword Excalibur from the Lady of the Lake from beneath the waters. Before long, however, the Celts were gradually pushed back by the Kingdom of Wessex, which eventually united the whole southwest peninsula under King Egbert, who ended Cornish independence. The picture for the remaining Celts was not completely hopeless though. Unlike much of the rest of the country, there is evidence from genetics and law codes that no genocide occurred here against the Celtic peoples. Whereas places like Kent, Sussex and Essex expelled or even killed off the Romano-British after the Anglo-Saxons took over, Wessex allowed them to remain, as long as they accepted subservience to the incoming Anglo-Saxon nobility. The Kingdom of Wessex is, in my view, an underrated kingdom in world history. In the Dark Ages, kings like In promoted international trade by founding Southampton and establishing law codes. And the Shire Reeve system of governance, combined with an official Witan or parliament, served as a positive template for balanced and developed government. This allowed Wessex to gain control of the peninsula and promote stability, peace, and even a measure of prosperity for its subjects. Sadly, the peace King Egbert established by uniting the southwest did not last. Viking raiders appeared, one of the earliest incidents being at the island of Portland, where Vikings killed the local reeve who went out to meet them upon landing. The Viking threat grew in severity, eventually defeating all the other English kingdoms, pushing even Wessex and King Alfred back to a few areas of the Somerset Levels. The map below left shows what the county looked like then. The blue area marks the seas and salt marshes which were Wessex's last holdout. It was a difficult terrain to traverse, and became the last refuge where Alfred waged guerrilla warfare against the Vikings, before returning with as many county militiamen as he could muster to fight the Great Battle of Edington, pushing the Vikings out of the southwest and successfully defending his kingdom. The only English kingdom to maintain its independence from the Vikings. Somerset's motto, Somerset Levels, meaning all the men of Somerset, comes from this time, when the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records that all the men of Somerset rallied to King Alfred. Dorset's motto, Who's afeard, also originates from this period, referring to those willing or afraid to join the county militia. The Dorset flag also comes from this time, often thought modern, but it actually is very old. Dorset's modern flag is the cross of Saint White, a Christian nun who was captured by the Vikings and refused to renounce her faith despite threats. She was killed for her steadfastness and became the patron saint of Dorset, which the flag commemorates. Around this time, King Alfred also established the first permanent navy of Wessex to defend the coast from Viking raids, aiming to intercept them before they reached shore. This marked a significant moment in West Country history and its long-standing relationship with the sea. Over the next 100 years, Wessex was to expand, eventually pushing the Vikings out of all England and uniting the English people under its rule. For this reason, our region has a strong claim to being the heartland of England, the place that not only saved the rest of the nation, but also unified it. Sadly, however, this was not the last turbulent period England would know. In 1066, William the Conqueror, known by many at the time as William the Bastard, crossed the English Channel with a fleet of Normans, Frisians and Bretons, and any others he was able to convince into following him. Him and his orcas, an Anglo-Saxon word meaning murderers, landed at Hastings and used many underhand tactics such as false retreats, massed archer fire and the pillaging of civilians against the heroic Anglo-Saxon armies led by Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Hastings, which took place on Senlac Hill. Sadly, after enduring many hours of relentless assaults by Norman cavalry, bowmen and armoured knights, the militiamen of Wessex were unable to hold their own against the continental forces any longer and were defeated and killed. The Normans took control of the whole of England after that and ruled with extreme cruelty, oppressing the peasantry ruthlessly. One striking indicator of this oppression is the scarcity of surviving Anglo-Saxon stone buildings. Although Anglo-Saxons did build in stone churches, cathedrals and other structures, the Normans tore most down, intent on eradicating the memory of the independent Anglo-Saxon kingdom. Indeed, within a few years of 1066, only 2% of English land remained with the original pre-conquest owners, and large areas of England's north had been pillaged into desolation. For the West Country, this was a particularly big loss. We went from being an area which was the core of England, which we had been crucial in unifying, to a peripheral location within the Norman realm. From this point forward, the rulers would no longer have spoke with our accent, and local thanes responsible for and to their local villages were replaced by remote Norman barons living far away who often did not even speak English. A fairly low feudal system with local accountability and even quasi-democratic institutions like the Witan, Wessex's parliament, was replaced with a high feudal system where regular villagers or villeins legally held very little sway with their liege lords. Legally had to lay before them for a substantial portion of the year and could not even move to a neighbouring settlement without permission. Unfortunately, this was one of those times when the bad guys won, at least temporarily. Some of the last resistance to Norman rule occurred in the southwest. Exeter was famous for mooning King William's armies during their siege, and the last significant resistance I know of happened around the town of Montacute, pictured here. The Normans had built a Motte and Bailey castle atop a hill and taken all the village's holy relics into it. The local people revolted at this and besieged the castle, seeking their return. However, sadly, the Normans quickly received reinforcements and crushed this resistance.